Have you ever wondered what really goes on behind the glitter and glamour of your favorite theme parks? What if I told you that the laughter and screams of delight hide some truly bone-chilling horror stories, real-life nightmares that only the brave or unfortunate employees ever witness? Today we're exploring the dark side of fun, from phantom trains that seem to run on their own to haunted attractions that whisper secrets from beyond. These aren't your typical ride malfunctions or minor accidents. These stories are the stuff of nightmares, filled with supernatural occurrences that have left employees questioning what is real and what isn't. Stick around, because later on I'll reveal a spine-chilling account of a night shift that turned into a paranormal battleground, one that has haunted an entire park to this day. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Now let's get started. Let's start with our first story, the Phantom Train. An experienced ride operator, who preferred to remain anonymous, once recounted a haunting night shift on what he called the Phantom Train. It was a cool autumn evening when everything was routine, until the train began moving without any operator in sight. According to his account, as he performed his usual safety checks, he noticed that the coaster's engine roared to life and the train began its circuit around the track, even though all the controls were offline. The operator watched in disbelief as ghostly figures, resembling passengers in old-fashioned clothing, appeared in the carriages. Their faces were blurred, as if shrouded in mist, and they stared out the windows with an unsettling stillness. The phenomenon lasted for nearly 10 minutes before the train came to a stop right in front of the maintenance shed. The figures vanished without a trace. When the investigation team arrived the next morning, there were no signs of any malfunction, only unexplained scratches along the track and an icy chill lingering in the air. The operator swore that what he witnessed was not just a technical glitch, but something otherworldly. Next, let's dive into our second story, the Haunted Carousel. A longtime ride attendant shared her story of a night when the carousel, normally a symbol of childhood wonder, transformed into a scene straight out of a ghost story. During a late-night cleanup shift, she noticed that the carousel's horses, each hand-painted with intricate details, began to move on their own. The music box tune, usually a cheerful melody, warped into a slow, distorted version that resonated with a mournful tone. As she approached, she saw what she described as a pale, flickering figure riding one of the horses. The apparition seemed to be a young girl, her eyes hollow, silently pleading for help. Despite her attempts to restart the ride and restore normalcy, the carousel continued to spin slowly, with the spectral figure appearing and disappearing at random intervals. The incident left her shaken to her core, and subsequent shifts never saw the carousel operating past closing time. Today, the park has installed additional lighting and security measures around the ride. Yet some employees still whisper that on quiet nights, you can hear the soft lullaby of the haunted carousel echoing through the empty park. Now moving on to our third story, the abandoned funhouse. Not all horror stories from amusement parks involve the supernatural on a grand scale. Some lurk in the forgotten corners of the park, where even the most mundane attractions hide dark secrets. One maintenance worker shared his unsettling experiences from working in an old funhouse, an attraction long abandoned after a series of strange occurrences. Every night, as he performed routine repairs, he began to notice anomalies in the funhouse's mirrors, reflections that didn't quite match reality, shadowy figures darting just out of sight, and faint whispering voices that seemed to emanate from the walls. One particularly stormy night, while fixing a broken light, he heard footsteps behind him. When he turned around, no one was there, only a chill that raised the hairs on the back of his neck. The funhouse had been closed to the public years ago due to safety concerns, but this employee insisted that it wasn't just dilapidation and neglect at work. It was something far more sinister. He later learned that decades ago, a tragic accident occurred inside those walls, and some believe that the spirits of those lost still wander the hallways, seeking solace or perhaps revenge. Moving on to our next story, night shift at the dark rides. For many amusement park employees, the night shift can be a test of nerves. One security guard described his harrowing experience during a stormy night shift at a park known for its dark rides, attractions that plunge riders into haunting enclosed environments. On that fateful night, after the park had closed, the guard was tasked with performing a final sweep of the area. As he made his rounds, he began hearing faint, ghostly laughter coming from the dark ride entrances. Initially, he dismissed it as a trick of the wind, but the sounds grew louder and more distinct. He cautiously approached one of the rides, only to see the lights flicker erratically and a shadow moving against the wall that wasn't cast by any physical object. Inside the ride, he found a series of inexplicable occurrences. Operating panels lit up on their own, and recordings of distorted voices echoed through the corridors. When he finally managed to shut down the ride and secure the area, he couldn't shake the feeling that something had been watching him, a presence that lurked in the darkness long after the park had emptied. This experience has haunted him ever since, serving as a stark reminder that sometimes the darkest hours bring the most inexplicable terrors. By the way, have you ever experienced or heard of any creepy happenings at an amusement park? Or perhaps you have your own ghost story to share? Drop your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. I read every comment, and your story might be featured in a future video. In our fifth story, we explore the disappearing co-worker. One of the most unsettling stories comes from a ride operator who experienced the inexplicable disappearance of a co-worker. During a busy summer evening, the two had been working together on the park's newest thrill ride, a cutting-edge roller coaster touted as the next big attraction. Late into the night, after everyone had left the main area, his co-worker vanished without a trace. At first, it was assumed that she had left early, but when he tried to contact her, her phone went straight to voicemail. Frantically searching the park, he found nothing, only an empty locker in the break room with her belongings still inside. Over the following weeks, other employees reported strange occurrences. A shadow darting across the tracks at dusk, whispers in empty corridors, and even the soft hum of a conversation in the ride's control room when no one was there. Some believe that her spirit still roams the park, caught between the living world and something far more mysterious. This unsolved disappearance remains one of the park's darkest mysteries, leaving employees to wonder if sometimes the line between life and death is far thinner than we imagine. Next up, we present the cursed attraction. Every amusement park has its share of urban legends, but none are as chilling as the story of the cursed attraction. An employee from a now-defunct ride recounts the tragic events that led to the ride's sinister reputation. Years ago, the ride experienced a catastrophic failure, a sudden malfunction that resulted in a fatal accident. While investigations attributed the incident to mechanical failure, those who worked there whispered of a curse. Soon after the accident, employees began reporting bizarre occurrences, unexplained cold spots in the control room, equipment turning on by itself, and haunting messages scrawled on the walls that vanished before anyone could record them. One employee described a night when the ride's safety lights began flashing in a pattern that spelled out a cryptic message, one that matched the date of the accident. Despite the park's efforts to exorcise the alleged curse through repairs and upgrades, the ride was eventually shut down permanently. To this day, former employees claim that on stormy nights, they can still hear the distant sound of the ride's malfunctioning alarms echoing through the park, as if warning of a past tragedy that refuses to be forgotten. Lastly, we end with the story, The Spectre of the Haunted House, where stage scares and real terror become one. An actor who once worked in the attraction tells the story of a night when the props and costumes seemed to take on a life of their own. During a routine performance, as the haunting sound effects filled the air, the actor noticed that one of the scare zones had gone far beyond its scripted role. A figure dressed in an outdated costume, with eyes that glowed unnaturally in the dark, appeared in the center of the room. At first, it was assumed to be another cast member playing a prank, but when no one else acknowledged its presence, a deep, unsettling feeling crept in. The figure moved with an otherworldly grace, its movements erratic yet purposeful, as if it were trying to communicate something urgent. The actor, along with several crew members, attempted to interact with it, but it simply vanished into the shadows, leaving behind only a cold, oppressive silence. The incident was never officially explained, but it changed the way the attraction was managed. The management eventually replaced most of the old props, yet some employees insist that the Spectre still lingers, a permanent reminder of the night when the haunted house became haunted for real. As we wrap up our journey into the haunted underbelly of amusement parks, remember, behind the magic lies mystery, and the line between reality and the supernatural is razor thin. The incredible dedication of park employees facing the unimaginable every day reminds us that not all is as it seems under the bright lights. If you enjoyed the video, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe for more, and share your own creepy experiences in the comments below. Thanks for watching.